Hello and welcome to Nowhere. My name is Trish and I am the creator behind Nowhere Novelties. I may be a little bit late to this trend, but today I am going to be tackling this gorgeous, bold brushstroke kind of design that's very popular on like furniture, like flipped furniture with a little bit of gold flake accents. This one comes together pretty easily, so if you're ready, let's strap in and shoot for the stars. This is a 12-ounce skinny Duozie from Makerflow Crafts. I am going to be basically creating the base paint with like chalk paint. So I know I didn't want to bring the paint down onto the bottom of the cup. So this one is going to have just a like raw stainless steel edge on the bottom. So all I'm doing is creating a like baseline with a marker or Sharpie and just drawing that around the bottom rim of the cup and then lining it with electrical tape. This is going to ensure that we have like a nice crisp line at the very bottom of the cup, and I will not be applying any sort of like glitter or paint or epoxy on the very bottom of this cup. So this design is fully hand painted. Again, I'm using a white chalk paint as my base so that the colors pop. For the pink and purple, I'm using pop of color or shock paints. They're also like a chalky base. And then for the blues and yellow, I am using just regular acrylic craft paint in a light blue, dark blue, and just a single yellow. First thing I'm going to do is get a base paint of white all over the cup. Again, this is going to help those bright colors pop. Without the white base paint, everyone knows that acrylic paints just don't have good coverage. The pop of color paints definitely would have good coverage, but I also still wanted like almost a neon effect. So I made sure to get a white base paint for all of the colors so that we had that like that nice crisp background for these colors to pop. Once those colors are, or once that base paint is fully dry, I'm going in first with just the yellow acrylic paint, and you're gonna put that on like the center portion of your cup and do more than you think you're going to need. We're going to cover up the yellow a lot with both the blue and pink sections. So do way more yellow than you think you're going to need to, because what you don't see is that I actually did this. I painted this twice and actually took off the entire first round of paints that I did because I didn't do enough yellow, and the blue and the pink sections really took over the cup. So while the yellow paint is still kind of wet, I'm going in with like an inch wide section of the blue and the pink and just barely letting them overlap. I'm turning these sponge brushes on their sides and starting that like brush stroke kind of pattern. I wanted to do this while the yellow was still wet so that I got a little bit of the paints mixing together. Again, when I did this the first time, I started mixing too much over the yellow, and especially with this pink, the colors turned really muddy. So I just wanted a little bit of overlap on this first section. And after I did this, I let this first layer of these paints dry completely before I went in with additional layers to kind of build up the dimension. This is what we have thus far with these paints being dry. Now we're going to build up that coverage and the dimension. And instead of using the sponge brushes, because I really wasn't liking the texture I was getting, I wanted more of that like true brush stroke look. I got out these chip brushes that I have. They have really, really stiff bristles, and that's what I was using to apply the lighter blue at first and also the pink at first. This again is building coverage. So I'm getting these I want to say the lighter of the two colors, because I have the pink and purple. So the purple is technically the darker color, the shadow almost. And then I have a light and a dark blue. So you want to get kind of your initial brush strokes into position. And then you're going to go in with your darker colors, but really not a lot. You want just a little bit. And I am dabbing my brush right alongside that light blue as well. So I'm almost picking up both of the colors so that, again, you're creating dimension. You really want this to look like you have so many layers on there. And I even go back in with the same paintbrush with just the light blue and start stroking that as well. This is going to create those light highlights, those dark shadowed sections. That's what you want to see. I'm getting some of the purple out now. This purple kind of turns into like a plum color when it dries down. I didn't realize that it was really that color until it was too late, but it actually looks, I like it. I like the way it turned out. It was way darker than I thought it was going to be. So I did go in and get a lot of that light pink back to cover some of that depth up, because it was very dark. So I am covering that up with more of just the bright pink here. You're going to do this over and over again, guys. I finished recording here with adding some of the yellow back in. Again, my blue and my pink sections are still just a little bit wet. So you're going to get some of that, those colors blending together. Watch the yellow. The yellow can get really muddy. So try not to grab too much of your blue or your red or pink. And just watch, your blending. You don't want to end up with any muddy colors. Once all of my paints were dry, I did one coat of epoxy. And as you can see here, I did add a teeny tiny bit of Helix additive. I mean, a teeny tiny bit, like really not even a lot. I just wanted a little bit of sparkle in that coat of epoxy. For the gold flake, I'm getting out my gold flake sheets and some Tack-It. I have that same, those same chip brushes, very, very stiff bristles, and I am applying not diluted Tack-It in a brush stroke pattern to my epoxy tumbler. The Tack-It needs to dry down, so I used a heat gun to dry that Tack-It until it was completely clear, which means it was also tacky and ready for the gold flake to be applied. Now I have gold flake sheets. Really, this is better suited for like actual gold flakes. So after I applied this first one with the actual sheet, I crushed the sheet up with my fingers so that it looked a little bit more like organic and didn't have such harsh lines. In hindsight, I wish I would have allowed this cup to cure a little longer, or maybe added a coat of like matte spray paint, because I had issues with the gold flakes sticking to the epoxy in places that there wasn't any Tack-It. So in the grand scheme of things, I had to go in with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and some elbow grease and really push off some of those like bigger chunks in the places that I didn't actually want the gold flake. It didn't all come off, but it does look good in the end. I think it gives a really like rustic organic look, but I think I might try the matte spray paint method next time, and maybe it'll be a little better. I do think this cup is gorgeous. I hope you do too. See y'all next time. Bye now.